Well, Terry the Goat, we're still waiting on one of the two Monday Night Football games tonight. There are two overlapping games tonight. One of them is Eagles-Vikings. Terry the Goat has had a second rough week. She went 5-10 in week one, and so far she is 5-7. She did get the last laugh, though, on picking the Jets over the Browns. We all had a good chuckle over that, didn't we? We all laughed at Terry the Goat. We called her a dumb piece of livestock, and we hurled all kinds of literally barnyard language at her on Thursday. She picked the Colts over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, that very much did not happen, and the Colts didn't even score. And she picked Baker Mayfield and the Panthers over the New York Giants. Panthers are 0-2. I was thinking this was week 3. Because I think when I texted you, I was like, well, the Browns went 2-0 for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, I was wondering what that is.
I was thinking it was week 3, but they would have been 2-0. Everyone expected them to be 2-0. That damn Joe Flacco, boy.
But those Jets, and like the thing is, the Jets are the Jets. They have just as much bad luck and bad seasons and stuff as the Browns. So when you get beat by the Jets with Joe Flacco at quarterback, it really stings a little bit more.
In any battle of bad luck in sports, Cleveland will always reign supreme. If you find a way to seize defeat from the jaws of victory, they'll do it.
Jets might not win another game this season.
Well, then they'll have that.
Yeah,
they've got that. You know, there were when I was walking, because for the Cox out there, I park here at work, and then I walk over to the Ivy. It's a good 15-minute walk. There were a lot of Jets fans in town.
I'm surprised we didn't see any fights. With everybody being so emotional about that loss, you'd think there'd be some Jets fans bragging, and then people will make a dumb decision and start throwing hands. But I didn't see any of that stuff.
No, because I think Browns fans knew they were right. I mean, and again, in the battle of making fun of your own team, a lot of Jets fans were chanting JETS, but MOMS, because like Zach Wilson supposedly, slept with his mom's friend or something like that. That's their joke.
Mm-hmm.
The joke in the Muni lot is having like female mannequins or guys with boners and the photo that everyone's seen, because it went viral for all the wrong reasons, was the happy endings are not illegal set up there in the Muni lot. And listen, whatever. It's a cool story, actually, if your young quarterback allegedly had sex with one of his mom's friends. That's the plot of half of the movies in the 80s and all 17 American Pie films. So,
was there anything like that in Friday Night? Oh, no. Blues.
Varsity Blues.
Did he bang a mom? I feel like he might have banged a mom,
it.
or like a mom wanted to bang him or something.
You mean Beak from the Creek? Was that his movie?
Yeah.
Because there was
I Don't Want Your Life.
Your Life. There was The Program with Jimmy Caan, I think. There was Varsity Blues and Friday Night Lights. And I am 0-3 on seeing those films. But, so it was, and by the way, all kinds of records were set yesterday. I was reading some of the wildest stats from yesterday's Browns-Jets game. The Browns had a 99.9% win probability with 2 minutes remaining in the game. Again, right? I mean, for the first time since in over a decade, the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Lions all won in the same day. That's kind of a weird. I mean, again, you can move any bit of numbers around and you'll come up with some weird stat. It's the first time the Jets had won an NFL game in the month of September in 4 years. First time Flacco.
That's what I'm talking about. The Jets have been a very lowly franchise for the past decade.
Yeah.
And then some.
First time Flacco won an NFL game on the road in 4 years. So,
It's the first time him winning a game as a Jet starter. I think he's 1-7 now or something, 1-6.
So we head back down on Thursday night. This week, Browns play the Steelers. That is Mitch Trubisky from Mentor, Ohio. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are in town, and we'll be doing the Cox Out pre-games. going to be ending this show a little early on Thursday so I can get down there. And I hope that you'll join me. So it's a chance. We don't have to wait a full week for redemption. And redemption is at hand. Because Mitch Trubisky, we had him on the Bears for a minute. Not great. Right now, anyway, I think someday he might be something. I don't think he's there yet. But who knows? Just be lucky and happy that the Browns aren't serving the most expensive beers in the NFL, because some people were kind of going over those stats as well.
Ooh, can we guess where they are?
Although I bet you'd
LA,
I bet
right?
you'd be willing to pay $15 for a beer if yesterday didn't happen. If you could see some Eagles fans have the most expensive beers in Philly.
That's why they're so angry.
They're $15. And then you're kind of your big market teams: Rams, Chargers, Raiders.
I bet that's to discourage people from drinking in Philly. Like, we're gonna make them $15 so people will drink less.
Oh, they're just gonna drink more, but be angry about it.
Well, it's also a win-win, because even if you don't discourage them, you're still charging them tons of money for beers.
Right.
It's not going to discourage them from drinking. Cincinnati Bengals are the only other team. Well, okay, so the Lions, Falcons, and Jets. The New York Jets are selling beers for about $6.25. And the Bengals are the only other team with beers under $7. What's a beer at Brown Stadium? It's like $8, $9.
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you the last time I got a beer there. Usually I end up going in for because I'm not going to have a ton of drinks when I go to a game. I'll have a couple.
Yeah.
And so I'll go for a big, boozy, $20 drink, which is stupid expensive too.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I went to a few games last year, but I don't remember what. And I would usually get the tall boys, which are usually
$10 or something
like that. Yeah.
Well, anyway, yesterday's game has been beaten to death, beaten harder than the Cleveland Browns. Everybody has seen the photos. Everybody has seen the things that went viral. Everybody has seen everyone's outrage over the things they've seen.
They're getting mad at Nick Chubb because he didn't fall down. He should have just not scored the touchdown. But
they're mad that he didn't fall down.
Right.
Yeah.
They said that he should have just taken a knee and then then they could have run out the clock, which is not wrong. But I also know these guys want to score touchdowns because their stats are how they get paid.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's done that in the past. It ends up costing him money.
You're trying to get bonuses.
Yeah, you want to get bonuses. You want to get.
Jugó para un pase profundo, cuidado abierto, es con Stanley Shepard, se escapó, sí señor, Shepard va a llegar, touchdown.
Oh,
now
that's an N on that one.
guy a different guy. That guy can say touchdowner. Why can't the guy doing Browns games?
Touchdowner.
I like touchdown.
Hasta la vista, baby. Nick Chubb, touchdown.
Now he's so excited he couldn't even get. The other guy gets touchdowner. This guy can't even get the N on the end. Touchdown versus touchdowner.
Touchdown is in my regular vernacular. Like that is.
Yeah, touchdown.
That's what
You're
I
like,
say.
touchdown.
Did he get a touchdown?
It's very exciting.
He had 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
$11.85 for domestic, $12.93 for premium. Well, I mean, come on. You can afford the extra little bit of money for premium beer, right? Oh, nothing tastes better than a premium beer. What makes a beer premium, by the way?
Not being a Bud Light.
An extra dollar. An extra $1, I believe.
I see.
Being craft.
Mark is among the more conspiratorial people in our audience. He doesn't think the Browns' loss was an accident. He thinks that pro sports is becoming increasingly staged.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of money on the line, and these guys do want to get their bonuses. See, that's why you'll never convince me. I mean, in basketball, there have been referees who've been charged with point shaving and things like that.
Yep.
But you'll never convince me of some grand conspiracy in professional sports. Yes, it sounds naive because there are billions of dollars on the line there, but you also have teams full of guys who are trying to get their own money through bonus structures and all kinds of weird, arcane contract things. And,
I don't think it's something that's coming through with the players, but I definitely think there's a chance for officials to manipulate the game or maybe coaches.
Hmm.
Maybe they miscommunicate something on purpose, so they give up that touchdown, and then all of a sudden the Jets are back in it. And then they also have to recover that onside kick somehow. Like there's so many things that had to go right for the Jets to win that game that I really don't think you can plan for that.
Right. It's not like they had some master plan. It's
Yeah.
that the Browns disintegrated.
Yeah. But the Browns weren't the only ones that had a bad day yesterday.
No.
The Raiders had a 20-point lead and blew it.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens had a 21-point lead and blew it to the Dolphins. There was all sorts of games that they seemed like they were wrapped up, and then they just completely fell apart. So
It was the
that's
first-
the early part of the season. That's how it goes.
It was the first time in NFL history that more than one team overcame a halftime deficit of at least 20 points to win. Dolphins trailed by 21 at the half, ended up beating Baltimore. And the Cardinals were down 20-0 at the half and ended up beating the Raiders in overtime. There was a Kyler Murray clip, boy, where this dude was going for the conversion, and he's dancing, and he's back there, and he's back and forth, and they're trying to keep guys off him, and he ends up running it in himself. It was a nice little bit of athletic ballet to watch. It's not always like that. Sometimes it's just dudes just trying to get out alive, but
Yeah.
he was like gliding and floating. That was amazing. And though it didn't make the history books, the day's most surprising and dramatic comeback came in Cleveland, Ohio. Jets, Mets, Giants, and Yankees all won on the same day for the first time since 2009. So if you are a New York fan, we have a lot of bureau chiefs in the Empire State. If you are a New York fan of any of those teams, it was a good day for you. Some people that will like to split the difference too. I have one friend who is a Mets and Yankees fan, and I don't know how you pull that off. It's like, at home I have a couple friends who are Cubs and Sox fans, which to me is a more mature way to approach it. They go, hey, listen, I'm rooting for the hometown, and whichever one of those teams wins, that's a more mature way to approach it. I can't do that. I'm a White Sox fan. Yes, Cubs games are more fun. Yes, Wrigley Field is a good time. Yes, the Cubs are the core team. Yes, the neighborhood around Wrigley Field, amazing. People who aren't even going to the games go up there to party. But I don't care.
Kyler Murray ran 84 yards on that 2-point conversion. He's from at the 2-yard line, but they calculated all the yards that he covered. 84 yards to get 2 yards. That's
Can you
hilarious.
imagine what his Apple Watch looked like?
Hey!
Holy cow. He got a full circle. Hey, Mitch.
Hey, Alan. Hey, everybody. How's it going?
What's going on, Mitch?
So I'm curious your opinion. So when you have I know you're against, you don't think that sports teams and things could be rigged, and I used to think that.
I didn't say that.
Everyone's out to make.
I didn't say
everyone's out to make money.
I didn't say they can't be rigged. Anything can be rigged. All I'm saying
Okay, so
is
when you have. Oh, sorry.
Go
Keep
ahead.
going. I was gonna say when you have a player say as influential as LeBron, and say during the finals, there was almost no doubt that they push games to 7-game series just to bring all the income into the city. It was almost like there was games you could just tell that they just pushed it to 7 games.
Well, you're also using the one guy in all of professional sports. You're using a completely outsized example. LeBron is doing a thing of his own. You might be onto something there. Obviously, you're not the first person to suggest that. It just seems to me that professional sports is a little bit more organic than people would like to believe, right? It's a universe full of gamblers and angry fans, and, you're not going to find a more conspiratorial group than that. But
I guess what I'm saying is when you have someone that can control the whole team, when you have such a star player like that can make all those decisions and do stuff like that, there's got to be a way that they can throw a game or push it in our direction.
Yeah, but you also don't know what every other player's going to do. You don't know what the other team's going to do. You'd have to control every aspect of every game to make that work. And even a guy like LeBron can only control what he does.
And even if they were controlling things, you take a game like Game 1 of the 2018 NBA Finals where they overturned a blocking a charging call to a blocking charge that would have made it so it was easier for Cleveland to hold the lead and win that game. That's that would have been an easy thing to not overturn. And they did overturn it, and then that was, the Cavs were swept that year. So you could have easily had them add at least one more game onto that series, and it didn't go that way because they called it the way they saw it.
I'll tell you what I think is being manipulated around here. Whoever's running this parking garage here.
Oh, yeah?
Because a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned, and it was my fault, I mentioned that
Is this a conspiracy?
I don't know if it's a conspiracy.
I just was saying, like, if it is, maybe we should have the proper music for it.
Do your job, Alan.
What?
Just
What's
like that.
What's my conspiracy music?
Usually like the alien music or whatever, like that whistly thing.
My theremin?
Theremin, yeah.
Well, that's for scary stuff, not conspiratorial.
Okay.
Let's see if it works for conspiracies.
I think it works. Is there an alien involved in this?
No, there's not an alien involved. I don't know who owns the... No, it's not.
All right.
There's nothing otherworldly about it. I mean, no, a couple of weeks ago, I parked in a spot that I thought I was able to park in, and I was not. And I got the big green sticker on my driver's side window. And fortunately, because I'm a patient man, I was able to pull that thing off with nary a stitch of sticker left on the window. Usually people pull those off. You've seen cars that, like, you got to get some goo gone and a razor blade. But anyway... So when I parked here yesterday morning to walk over to the Ivy, I park in one of the iHeart spots. And when I come back, every other iHeart spot is full. They ain't full of employees here. They're full of other people because we have a designation that we have to hang from the window.
Right.
That says we're with iHeart and can park in our designated spots. When I came back, every spot was full. So I'm like, I get that you guys want to make $40 on game day or whatever. But then don't give me the green sticker on a random Tuesday. Something's going on. Am I going to get to the bottom of it, you ask? No.
I think it was the $40 for parking on a day where there's a Browns game and a Guardians game.
Of course.
That matters more.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When I pulled in, it was like garage full, key card, whatever. But these were not iHeart employees that was parked in our spots. It was other people. So, whatever. They run it however they want to run it. But don't be putting green stickers on my driver's side window.
I was so aggravated coming into work today. I was behind a car. I have my bags ready to go as soon as I pull up in there. And I was behind a car that was just sitting there for no reason. And I'm like, am I going to have to back
at the gate it's sitting there?
At the gate. And I'm like, am I going to have to back out? Did they not mean to come in here? So the lady comes from the gate. And she's talking to him, chopping it up. Anyways,
they're having a conversation.
Relaxing, chilling on the window, got our elbows on there. I'm like, all right. So the lady,
I think that means you need to make more friends in the building.
The driver gives her a slip. She goes into her little office, comes back 5 minutes later, and I'm like, my sandwich is getting cold here. So she walks back out.
He's not worried about being late for the show. He's worried about my sandwich.
Well, that's right. Why did you get a hot sandwich?
Well, I was in the parking garage, so it was half an hour before showtime. I had plenty of time. Okay. I'm sitting there.
What kind of sandwich?
Just a grilled chicken sandwich.
Okay.
And then, so she comes back out and talks to her again. And I'm like, another 2 minutes go by. And then I kind of just throw up my hands like this, like, what's going on? And then she finally opens up the gate. And then the car drives through. And then she looks at me, and she's like, make sure you roll up your back window. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I roll up my back window, and I go on through. And then
your back window?
I had accident when I was rolling down my front window. I pressed the button for my front window.
Not like the trunk. I see what you mean.
Yeah, I rolled down my back window on accident when I was pressing the button to roll down my front. She's like, make sure you roll up your back window. I'm like, yes, ma'am, thank you. And then so I finally go in.
Yeah, they know what goes on in there.
Mm-hmm.
And this car is puttering around the corner. I'm like, what is going on? And then I felt really bad because then they puttered around the corner and then they parked into a handicapped spot. And I was like, oh, that's what was going on. They were probably telling her, all right, well, if you're handicapped, you park in this spot. And,
You imagine this whole scenario in your head. And the guy was just asking for some assistance.
I was so angry. I'm like, because she was going around the corner at 1 mile per hour. I'm like, come on. It's a parking deck. I can't go around you.
This guy.
So she was looking for the handicap
He's like,
spot.
hey, Crip, My sandwich is cooling off.
I wanted to honk, and then I was like, "That I'm glad I didn't, because that would have been rude." But I felt like it. I really wanted to honk.
You just lay on the horn in the garage,
I'm
just
not-
echoing throughout the thing.
I'm not a road rage guy. I'm just not.
No,
I'm so-
you're a
I'm so
garage
chill.
rage guy from the sounds of it.
I just didn't understand the point of sitting there for 5 minutes. I'm like, why?
Maybe she was hard of hearing, maybe.
I don't know what it was. But
Hard of driving, apparently.
Stick your head out of the window. Hey, well, we're young. One of those.
well, it was then.
I'm going to have to shave again.
By the time I found a parking spot and walked all the way down, I saw them. They were just getting out of their car after they had parked on like the first 2 levels, and it was 2 old ladies like Velma and Louise, and I'm like, oh my god.
Velma and Louise. I love the Susan Sarandon Scooby-Doo crossover he's just created.
Velma
And Louise. I love it. You are a goddamn genius, Poundcake.
I know.
All right, let me take a break here. If you want to text for anything, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com. You can watch there, and we'll be back.
It's the Alan Cox Show. Everyone.